Thank you. My name is David Eby. I'm the Executive Director of the BC Civil Liberties Association, and we've asked you all to come here today to address what we feel is a very important issue, which is how do we keep people alive who are in contact with police because they are drunk or high in public, and beyond that, how can we improve the quality of life for the chronic alcoholics that police and first responders, fire and ambulance are in contact with on a regular basis, really the Frank Pauls of British Columbia and Canada. Today we have with us a number of guests, so I won't go through all of the various people who have joined us, but I will single some folks and organizations out. We have 5 different police forces who are represented in the room here today. We have advocates from as far north as Fort St. John, Prince George, Campbell River. Kamloops is joining us via webcast. We have representatives of Coastal Health, City of Vancouver, Province of British Columbia Police Services Division, the Police Complaints Commissioner's Office, both provincially, and the Commission for Public Complaints against the RCMP federally. And we have service providers who will be joining us today from Atira and from the Portland Hotel Society, as well as community members from the downtown east side who are with us and joining us throughout the day. So it's quite a group that's here today, which I believe reflects the importance of this issue and the fact that we all feel that it is important that we can improve on how we are delivering services right now to this very vulnerable population. I would like to turn over the microphone to Grand Chief Stewart Phillip of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs to provide our welcoming and opening remarks this morning, and to thank our co-sponsoring organizations, the Frank Paul Society and the Elizabeth Fry Society, and of course, UBCIC. Grand Chief.
Wai haskahalt sinaksil and chaya squeeze asiut. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Coast Salish peoples on whose ancestral lands we have the privilege of being here today. Particularly, I'd like to acknowledge people, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh. And I would like to commend the organizers for bringing us together here this morning for this important discussion we're about to embark upon. I must say you're quite an impressive group. I think it's pretty notable that we have 5 separate police agencies here, and thank God I don't have any outstanding warrants. But I think the issue at hand is incredibly important. It's most certainly a life and death issue. And as we were on our way across town, Don Bain and myself, Don Bain is the Executive Director of the Union of BC Indian Chiefs. We're pretty much news junkies. So we were listening to stations, and the lead-off story was about the mayor of Coquitlam, whose home has been vandalized 3 separate times in the last week because their council made a decision to open a permanent homeless shelter in Coquitlam. And I really believe that that's at the root of the issue that we're going to be discussing here today, is the attitudes of society in terms of homelessness, marginalized people, people that live in the downtown east side, and that's tragic that we have those attitudes so prevalent in our society that certain groups in our society are viewed as being disposable. And the Union of BC Indian Chiefs is a political advocacy organization. We have a long, proud history since 1969 of being a rights-based organization pursuing the human rights, the indigenous rights, and the inherent rights of indigenous peoples throughout the province of British Columbia. We've been active not only in BC but across this country and internationally. And the human rights of our people, no matter where they may reside, is something of importance to us, and that's why we became involved in the Frank Paul issue some 11 or 12 years ago. And thank goodness for the community activists such as Kat Norris, who was very much a central figure in organizing marches, candlelight vigils, and rallies in memory of Frank Paul and the tragic way in which he died. And it's abundant the resources and the capacity certainly do not exist to the point where he was simply rejected from the drunk tank facilities of the Vancouver Police Department and was simply abandoned in an alleyway where he succumbed to the elements. And we all know there is a public inquiry. It took 10 long years of marching through the streets to bring that about. But we do have that process underway, and there's been a number of recommendations, and one of those recommendations was for the development of programs and services for people such as the late Mr. Paul. So I look forward to this discussion we're about to have this morning. I commend all of you for taking the time to be here. I'm particularly encouraged by the fact that we have a Frank Paul Society. Too often when we have public inquiries, the reports are issued and simply gather dust on the shelf somewhere, and we keep repeating the same behaviors with the same outcomes. And at some point in time we have to change that. And I see this as an opportunity for that to take place. Just in closing, I would also like to acknowledge David Eby from the BC Civil Liberties Association, who certainly understands the need for activism and has been very much part of our struggle in the downtown east side to bring public attention to a whole range of issues. Mr. Eby has been with us on many occasions with respect to the missing and murdered women issue in the downtown east side, and as most of us know, toured the province of British Columbia with respect to policing issues and concerns in regard to policing throughout the province.